Kayla Harrison was never the kind of girl people noticed right away. She was quiet, soft-spoken, and often sat alone in the cafeteria with her headphones in. To most, she was invisible. But to a small group of bullies at her high school, she was the perfect target. They saw her silence as weakness, her calm demeanor as vulnerability. And like sharks that smelled blood, they circled her every chance they got. It started with small jabs, whispers behind her back, laughter when she walked into a room, mocking the way she dressed or how she tied her hair. Kayla kept her head down, thinking that if she ignored them, maybe they'd stop. But ignoring only fueled them more. Soon, the bullying escalated. Her locker was vandalized with cruel words, her backpack was dumped out in the hallway, and one afternoon, a group of them cornered her near the bleachers, shoving her around like she was nothing. What they didn't know was that Kayla Harrison wasn't just the quiet girl. Behind her silence was strength. For years, Kayla had been training in judo and mixed martial arts. She wasn't just a student, she was a fighter. Every night after school, while the bullies wasted time gossiping and scrolling through their phones, Kayla was on the mat, practicing throws, holds, and strikes with precision. Her coach often told her, discipline isn't about fighting back, it's about knowing when to fight, and when to walk away. Kayla had taken those words to heart. That's why she never reacted to the bullying. Not until they pushed her too far. The breaking point came one rainy afternoon. Kayla had stayed late to finish a science project in the library. As she stepped outside, the bullies were waiting. 5 of them, smirking, blocking her path. They surrounded her, taunting, calling her names she had learned to block out. But when one of them grabbed her notebook and tore it in half, something inside Kayla snapped. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She simply took a deep breath and let her years of training guide her. When the tallest boy lunged to push her, Kayla sidestepped, hooked his arm, and flipped him flat onto the wet pavement. The others froze in shock, but before they could react, another came at her. Kayla pivoted, grabbed his wrist, and twisted him into a lock that left him whimpering in pain. One by one, they fell, not because Kayla wanted to hurt them, but because she refused to be their victim anymore. The scene was brutal but quick. Within moments, the same bullies who had terrorized her for months were lying on the ground, groaning, their confidence shattered. Kayla stood tall, her breathing steady. She didn't raise her fists again. She didn't need to. Her message was clear, never mistake kindness for weakness. Word of what happened spread through the school like wildfire. By the next morning, everyone knew about the quiet girl who had single-handedly destroyed the bullies. Some students whispered in awe, others cheered for her, and for once, Kayla didn't. Kayla Harrison had always been the type of girl who blended into the background. She wasn't the loud, outgoing type who drew attention, nor the kind who was constantly surrounded by friends. Kayla preferred the quiet corners of the library, the comfort of sketching in her notebook, and the peace of her music. To her, silence was safety. But to some, silence was weakness. At school, Kayla was an easy target. She never fought back, never raised her voice, and never told teachers when she was mistreated. The bullies noticed. At first, it was small things, snide comments in the hallway, laughter when she passed by, and cruel jokes whispered just loud enough for her to hear. She tried to ignore it. She told herself, if I stay quiet, it'll stop. They'll get bored eventually. But bullies don't get bored. They get bolder. Soon, her locker was smeared with insults written in marker. Her bag was dumped out in front of everyone at lunch. They even recorded videos of themselves mocking her and posted them online, where strangers laughed at a girl who never fought back. The more Kayla stayed silent, the more vicious they became. But what they didn't know was that Kayla had a secret life. After school, when most kids went home to play games or scroll through their phones, Kayla headed straight to the gym. She had been training in judo and mixed martial arts since she was 9 years old. Her mother had signed her up because she was shy and lacked confidence, and over the years, Kayla's body became strong, her reflexes sharp, her mind disciplined. On the mat, she was fierce. Off the mat, she returned to being invisible. Her coach often told her, the greatest fighters are the ones who know they don't always have to fight. Control is power. Kayla believed him. That was why she never used her skills outside of the gym. But even the strongest patience has limits. The breaking point. It happened one rainy afternoon. Kayla had stayed late in the library working on a science project. When she finally stepped outside, her shoes splashing into puddles, she realized she wasn't alone. 5 bullies, 3 boys and 2 girls, were waiting by the bleachers. Their smirks were enough to make her stomach twist. "Well, look who it is," one sneered. "Little Miss Nobody." They circled her, blocking the path. Kayla gripped her backpack tightly, heart pounding, but she tried to walk past. One of the girls snatched the bag from her shoulder, ripping it open. Books and papers scattered into the mud. Kayla bent to grab them, but another shoved her back. Laughter filled the air. When one of the boys picked up her project, the one she had worked on for weeks, and deliberately tore it in half, something inside Kayla snapped. She stood up slowly, rain dripping from her hair, her fists tightening. She wasn't trembling anymore. She wasn't scared. She was done being their victim. The fight. The tallest boy shoved her shoulder, expecting her to stumble back like always. Ins.